examples, but I mean like general groups of causes. Like, yes. Not examples yet. Just natural, yeah, natural disasters, yeah, natural cause. And then, yes, right. Then anything else? Okay. That can be due to what? Collision with what? Uh, yeah. Well, that can be regarded as part of human errors, human negligence, probably. And there is another group in which also collision happens, and I'm asking for that. Like one of the most deadliest ones. No. Okay. Pardon? Virus? Uh, I mean like uh, I I don't know. I don't think so. uh, anything else? Nothing more? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Explode near what? What's the first word? Near what? Ah, explosions usually happens when? Military causes, like, yeah. Okay. uh, uh, okay, so natural causes, then due to military actions, human negligence, and there is one more. No, anything? Okay. Right. More general, it would be like equipment, right? Hardware or software malfunction. Okay. Uh, then, uh, like, can you name me a few examples of natural causes you named, right? Okay, yeah, hurricane. Anything else? Earthquake. Okay. What happens due to earthquake usually in oceans? Yeah, tsunamis. Pardon? Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, storms. Okay. So tsunamis. There is one more, like very important one. Like it's not very common, but it's very. Yeah, it was mentioned. Yeah. Um, like there is one that is. Yeah, waves. Yeah, but I meant the other one, which the consequence of which we know, like everyone knows. Like, what is the most famous shipwreck? Happened due to what? With what? Yeah. It's typhoons. Okay. Icebergs. Yeah. Uh, then we have fog. It wasn't mentioned, but I think it's important. Uh, it's then wind, obviously, rain and waves. Okay. Then what about the military ones? Like, can you name me examples of uh, military actions, like military systems of whatever, like examples from military? Yes. Yeah, military. uh, nuclear bomb. More like specific, like which happens in oceans. Uh, pardon? Contact. Torpedoes. Yeah, yeah. Torpedoes are fired, launched from what? Yeah, submarine. Submarines. So we have submarines and we have what? Something else like that can fire from the sea. Other ships, right? Yeah. And then, so we have Navy and we have what? Air Force, yeah. Other aircraft. And what else? Yes. Maybe like I mean here more like ship related. These examples are more like about ships, shipwrecks. Oh, okay. So this one is also important actually. There was one Chinese passenger. I think this. I think it was one of the deadliest in maritime history. The cause, the suspected cause, is the Japanese naval mines that were left after the war. So the passenger ship probably hit the mines. I think you can find it in Google, Wikipedia. Yeah, mines are also important, hitting mines. And then aircraft, and what is left? Like Navy, Air Force, land. Yeah, land-based weapon systems. Okay, and then human negligence and hardware and software. Can you name me examples for human negligence? Uh, Pardon? Not being. Yeah, yeah, right. It's right, actually. Yeah. Lack of knowledge, training of the crew. Right. Yeah, similar. Then anything else? Yes. You mean for the second one, probably not the first one. Yeah, we're gonna come to that soon. Okay. Uh, Nothing. Any suggestions? Okay. Maritime traffic. It's really important. Anything else? You mean traffic? Right, right. Yeah. We can actually. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, that's right. Yeah. Ro- Yes. Yeah. It's right there. Yeah. It's right. Uh, and then, what about the hardware and software, like equipment? Which system? Yeah, yeah. Which are the important systems in the ship that can malfunction? Which systems? Like, yeah, right. Navigation. Yeah, right. And navigation, and what else? The second, like one of the most important parts of the ship is what? Engine, right? Yeah, 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 right. So, oh, there is one more here. Yeah, inadequate safety check before the void. Actually, what she said, probably like negligence of the number of limitation of the number of people and other stuff that should be checked before the voyage. Yeah, and here we go. Engine failure, navigation's equipment failure. Both were mentioned, right? Um, and then I think it was mentioned before. I think you mentioned. Someone mentioned general structural failure, right? Structural failure. Okay, let's move on. So we've mentioned military ocean disasters, accidents that happen due to military action. So one of the important things we've mentioned were submarines, right? So this is like one of the deadliest weapon systems of both World War I and World War II, and it led to German domination in both wars. So what was that? Submarines, and how they named it? Like there's like famous like short word. Like it's actually from German, but it was anglicized, like kind of, right? Like it's submarine, but there is one word with U. Yeah. Right. So these are wolf. This is called wolf pack of submarines, U-boats. Like this was mass attack tactics used by German forces in World Wars, and in both early periods of both World Wars, like Germans dominated Atlantic Ocean with these advanced weapon systems because they had the most at that point they had the most advanced submarines. And after the World War One, after Treaty of Versailles, I think uh, German Navy was prohibited from Germans were prohibited from expanding their navies, and they lost the war, right? So what they focused on after that, after the defeat in World War One, was advancing even more in submarines. As a result, first most actually most part of the World War Two, like was dominated by German U-boats. They were destroying any kinds of ships that they could in Atlantic Ocean, and they were really deadly. So the only thing that really frightened me during the war was the U-boat peril. Who said this? Right. You know this guy? That's Churchill. Yeah. Good. You knew this quote? Oh, okay. Then who's this guy? It's not related to war. Well, it's kind of, but he didn't fight in the war. He's really famous. He's film director. He's one of the best film directors of all time. Right. Like he is famous. Yeah, right. Good. He is famous for his nonlinear plots. So, uh, and there is one movie. Again, we talked about submarines, and there is one more thing that can be maybe as deadly, arguably as deadly, but I don't think so. As submarines, there's one more thing, right? And those are aircraft, like aircraft bombing of ships. So there is a movie recently released, right, that has described this bombing of the ships. So okay, before we talk about that more, who this is famous quote from the World War II in 19. It was said in 1940, after the events of after the events of Dunkirk evacuation, actually Dunkirk evacuation, and the movie is Dunkirk. So we shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, and whatever cost may be. And the most famous part starts from here. We shall fight on the beaches. Actually, the name of the quote is "We shall fight on the beaches." We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. And if which I do not for a moment believe, this island or a large part of it were subjugated and starving, then our empire beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until, in God's good time, the new world with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old. Who said this? Yeah, two quotes from Churchill. So the movie is Dunkirk. Uh, Yet another masterpiece from Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer. So here's the video. Okay, I'll put the video as a dessert at the end. Before that, last two questions. So the most famous shipwreck, right? And what do you think is the number of fatalities? Just guess. 100? Anything else? 1,000? 100,000? 100, 200, 1,000? Nothing else? Oh, okay. It's actually so the sinking of the British RMS Titanic, 1,500 fatalities. So and do you think this is the largest number of fatalities? Like, do you expect anything larger than 1,500? No. Yeah. Do you, so you think Titanic is not the deadliest one? Do you know which one is the deadliest one? And if you don't, okay, if you don't, but can you guess the number or the name of the deadliest one? No, no one, Professor. Yeah, it obviously happened during the war. Anything larger than Titanic should be during the war, right? And due to action of what? Submarine. So, and the deadliest one is the wartime sinking of the German Wilhelm Gustloff. I'm not sure about the pronunciation of this one. In January 1945, by a Soviet Navy submarine with an estimated loss of about 9,400 people. So interesting thing is, I was gonna say that now. So it was a cruise ship. That Wilhelm Gustloff ship was a cruise ship before. Then Nazi Germany Navy made it into a hospital ship, and then during the war, this hospital ship was operating as a military transport. So what happened is, captain of the submarine launched 4 torpedoes at this ship, and at port side of the ship, 4 torpedoes. And the first torpedo was nicknamed for motherland, for the motherland, and one for Leningrad. You know Leningrad, right? It was a Soviet city that suffered a lot during the war. And third one for the Soviet people. And interestingly, the last torpedo was named for Stalin. It got jammed in the torpedo tubes and had to be dismantled. Uh, and yeah, what is it? I was gonna say something else. Yeah, uh, even if it was a military transport ship, it is estimated that there were 5,000 children and women on that ship. So most of the fatalities were not even military men. Yeah, that's it. Now the last thing is video. So Dunkirk, for people who don't know, it was during what happened is Germany surprised everyone with swift attack on Belgium and France. So and in a really short period of time, Belgium capitulated and France was on the verge of that. So hundreds of thousands of British men were trapped in the small place in France uh, called Dunkirk, and the only thing separating them from Germany was English Channel. So British started the Operation Dynamo. Churchill, I think, started it, and they called all the civilians from all the UK to go with their who had boats, to go civilian boats, to go and rescue them. And of course, Royal Navy was also trying to help to save the remainder of British, Belgian, and French soldiers. So this is like, and there was a battle between Junkers bombers, German dive bombers, that were trying to destroy those ships. If they could destroy, probably German could have won the war because this really saved the Allies. And so this was a battle between Spitfires, between British Spitfires and German Junkers bombers. This is like compilation of bombing actions. This is Spitfire. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.